morning, everyone, and welcome. I am Latanya Sanders, Chair of the Program Planning and Development Committee, and we are pleased to host this workshop today to provide valuable information and tools to help you manage your finances effectively. A few reminders for our workshop. Please make sure that your microphone is muted and be mindful of your background noise. And if you have a question for our presenter, you can use the raise hand feature and wait to be recognized, or you can post your question or comment in the chat box. So now I would like to introduce our chapter president, Erica Wills, to provide a welcome.
Thank you, Soror Sanders. Hello, everyone, and good morning. I want to welcome you to Kansas City, Kansas Alumni Chapter's Financial Fortitude Workshop for this month, Financial Literacy. And we want to thank our speaker, Raina Fields, for joining to attend and present for us. So hopefully everyone gets something out of this. Well, I know you will get something out of this, but make sure you have your pen and paper so you can jot down all those notes. And I'm going to turn the floor back over to you. Thanks, Soror Sanders.
Thank you, Madam President. All right, so April is Financial Literacy Month. During the month of April, Delta Sigma Theta observes Financial Fortitude Month. This means that Delta Sigma Theta takes a deep dive into all things finance, money, coins, and more. Financial Fortitude Month, also known as Financial Literacy Month, is the month where organizations like Delta, financial institutions, nonprofit organizations, human service agencies increase their focus on the importance of financial literacy through events, programs, and counseling. The principles of financial fortitude have been present in the sorority's foundation, even through Delta's first national president, Sadie T.M. Alexander, as an economist who dedicated her career to the financial education of Black communities. Through the decades, Delta has illuminated the importance of financial security and creating generational wealth within Black households. So let's chat for a few minutes. We want to hear from you and know what brought you here today. What are you interested in learning at this workshop? What are you hoping to learn and what information are you hoping to get? If you could add to the chat. Savings, okay. What else? I want to learn a better understanding of my finances in deep. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good one too. What else are you all interested in learning about today? Investments, that's a good one too. Anything else? Budgeting better, okay. Short-term wealth, excellent. All right. So Raina, I think you jotted down some notes. So, okay, overall enhanced financial literacy, budgeting and helping my credit, investing in long-term wealth. Love it. I love all of those because I'm interested in those as well. And I think with Raina's presentation today, she's going to hit on all of those things so we can all take some nuggets and information back with us. So thank you for sharing that with us, everyone. All right. So on our agenda for today, we're going to learn from Raina, understanding debt management strategies, exploring savings and investment options, creating an effective budget, planning for retirement goals, and establishing an estate plan. That was a new one for me. I was like, estate plan? I don't have an estate, but we all have estates. So that's going to be something for all of us to learn as well. All right. So let me introduce our presenter for our workshop, Raina R. Fields. Raina specializes in financial problem solving with over 30 years of experience in the industry. Raina dedicates her veteran insight from a spectrum of services, including retirement planning, investment advice, estate planning, insurance protection, commercial insurance underwriting, and so much more. Prior to founding Main Street Financial Advisors, Raina owned and directed a franchise of leading financial firm and managed approximately 350 clients with over $45 million of assets under her management. She is a graduate of Webster University with a bachelor degree in management with an emphasis in marketing. She is a recipient of the $1 Million Roundtable Award for the past 10 years and has also been honored with the Black Women of Distinction Award. Raina is a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a member of the Community Christian Cyclist, Triple C Motorcycle Ministry, and she is a proud member of the Kansas City, Missouri Alumnae chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and a member of the Delta Educational and Economic Development Foundation. Wow, we have a great person with us here today that has the insight and the information we are needing. So now I will turn it over to Raina.
Thank you, Latanya. Thank you, Erica. And thank you to the Kansas City, Kansas Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for having me today to speak on financial literacy. That is so important. And I'm so proud that not only Delta is looking out for people's financial literacy, but we are here locally too. So thank you all for getting up this morning and being a part of this workshop. I am so glad that you all answered what brought you here, because I want you to go forward as I speak, thinking in terms of what goals do you want to achieve? What is that why that brought you here? What is that why that make it important to you to have a budget or have good credit or know about investing? Think about that why as I go through the presentation so that you can apply it. And I'm hoping that you can walk away with something that is of value to you that you can move forward with. So think about that. So at the end, you can at least write one thing down that you're going to take with you going forward. Let's see. That's it. All right. Personal finance and wellness. We are going to start with budgeting, as the agenda said. So our goals for this is to share methods and tools for budgeting and provide a roadmap for you to do it yourself. Be able to do it without someone else having to push you there. So budgeting is challenging. It can be a challenge. Why? We don't want to do it. We don't like doing it. It's work. It forces us to maybe become accountable. So budgeting can be a challenge. And by the way, I forgot to say, I would like for people to hold the questions to the end. You could put them in the chat, hold them to the end, and then we'll go through questions and answers. Hopefully I'll answer a lot of those concerns that you all have put up there already. So your plan, when you were growing up, you probably had a plan. You had a plan to go to college, to finish college, maybe to get married, to have children, to get a good job, to open your own business. You had a plan and you expected that plan to just go as you planned, just keep going up and achieving all the things that you wanted in life. That plan, keep that in mind. What is your plan? What is it that you really want to achieve? But guess what? You know what they say now? Life be lifing. That's the new term, life be lifing. Reality sets in. And you got those storms, you got those landmines, you got those tornadoes that mess your whole plan up. And you may have to endure that. We all have to endure it. That's life. It's okay. It is okay. For me, I was on that path. Everything that I had set my mind to, I was reaching. My why was because I wanted my children to see that all you had to do was work hard, put your mind to it, and have a goal, and you could do anything in the world that you wanted to do. You could be anything that you wanted to be. That was my why, my determination, my drive in life. And then reality set in. And my son, I lost my son. So then that just deflated me. I lost my why. Why did I need to be successful? I had to regroup. I had to come up with another why. And what I realized is that, yes, life was different, but I had another why. I had to be there for the rest of my family. I had to be there for my clients. I had to keep pushing. I had to have new goals. So reality will set in, but storms don't last always. We can get through the storm and make it. So always remember your why and the fact that you may have to refocus sometime. So when you're considering budgeting, what are you looking at? You know, why is it important? What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about because I want it? What is tomorrow gonna be? Let me plan for that. Let me budget for that. I want to see my kids walk across that stage and make it to college and not have to look back at me and say, I couldn't go because I didn't have the money and you couldn't help me. I want to be able to have that house that I want. What is it that you're considering? One of the things that's on this list that I want to tell you to be mindful of is who you associate with, who your friends are. Because a lot of times we have friends that could purchase a certain thing or always going to dinner, always going out. And then we're trying to be a really good friend and be there for them and with them. And then we find ourselves spending money that we don't have, using credit that we should not use. And we find ourselves in debt when the other person may have budgeted, planned, and can do that. So be careful who you associate with and pattern your life after to make sure that you're living your why and you're budgeting for what you want and not someone else. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to budget? Creating a budget can surely help. So I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and I used to think, oh, let me go out and let me teach. I can teach. I can tell everybody what to do. I can coach. But guess what? I had to stop and say, wait a minute. Let me see if this stuff really worked, because I was telling everybody else what to do, and I wasn't even applying it myself. So years ago, I stopped and I took control of our finances. I literally took a spirebound book. Latanya, show them your spirebound book. She said she still uses them. I don't. But a spirebound book, a notebook, and I wrote down every expense that left our house. I wrote down every debt we had, every credit card, card note. I put the expense. I put the interest rate I was paying. I put the monthly amount, and I also put the balance. Every expense, whether it was to get gum, gas, food, it didn't matter. It went in that spirebound book. And everybody in the house had to journal their expenses. Guess what? It made us stop spending because we were like, oh, Lord, forget it. I'm not going to buy that because I don't want to go and write it down. So we kept track of that. I did that for 3 months, and my goal was to get debt free. So it took me about 4 to 5 months to get debt free from the credit card debts, the card notes, all of that. It curbed our impulse buying. So we didn't spend money because we did not want to account for it. We didn't want to see the expenses go up. It created discipline. And the next thing is that once you do that and free up all this money because you're debt free, don't forget to have that secondary plan. Why did you do that? What are you going to do with those dollars? Because if you don't have a why after that, then here come the cars, the new houses, things that maybe you don't need, because now you got all this money that you freed up. So it created a definite peace of mind in our household. And when you create that budget and live by it, think of how you're going to feel. You see all these words over here: strong, relaxed, happy, comfortable. I felt empowered. I could tell you to the penny how much it took to run my household. And that was so empowering because we deal with life so much and we are just trying to pay the bills and keep going. We don't even pay attention to looking at the small details on the bills, to making sure that they are correct. We don't take that kind of time. We're just trying to get it paid and paid on time. So if you go through this activity, think about what it is that you are wanting to feel. What is an accomplishment? Are you strong? What is it that you want to feel when you completed a budget, live by it, and achieve the things that you wanted to achieve? So you're going to start with assessing where you are today. What is your income? What are your expenses? You need to account for that. Like I said, I did it in a spiral-bound notebook. There are so many other features and technology out there that you can do it with. I know Rocket Money, they have one that track those things. There are several, mint.com, and there are several others. So let's start with, what are you doing with your money? Is your money making money for you? There are people out there with $100,000 sitting in their checking account. Checking account is earning zero. Zero. Believe it or not, I have a savings account at the Community America Credit Union here, and it's called a high yield interest savings account. You could put $2,500 in there and get like 5% rate of return. So on $2,500 at Community America Credit Union, the high yield interest savings account, I'm getting $125 a year. Somebody over here with $100,000 in a checking account is getting zero. So do you have your money making money? Even if you're scared to invest it, and we'll get to that later, at least put it in something that you are making a return on. If it's a savings account, or if it's at least a money market account or a CD, something that your money is at least making money. Debt pay down. This is uncertain terms out here. People are losing their jobs. Things are just seem just array right now. Paying down your debt is so important. Trying to eliminate that so that we can survive during these turbulent times. So if you are paying credit card interest 18, 27%, you want to have a plan where you could pay that down. Generally, what I tell people is to, when you take your list that's on that spiral-bound notebook, and you see what you owe, then start attacking at least what's under $1,000. Do that first. Take your smallest one first. And whatever money that you have left over, go towards the smallest credit cards that are under $1,000. Let's say you got one that's $200 and you have $100 left over. Well, in 2 months, that's gone. And then go take that money along with what you're paying on the next one and pay on that one until it's gone. The reason you're doing that is that we are getting self-satisfaction. We don't have 20 credit cards that we owe anymore. We have 18 now, and then we can keep going, and it has a snowball effect. When you start dealing over $1,000, then you start looking at interest rates. You want to make sure that you have the best interest rate. I know that at National Federal, not National Federal, I'll think of it in a minute, I'm sorry. Navy Federal, yeah, Navy Federal Credit Union. They have a program where if you get their credit card, then you can do a balance transfer to them and don't have to pay any points, no interest to do that, no 2%, 3%, 5%. And you can actually have a year to pay that off at zero. So look for programs that you can get into that you could pay down and possibly not have that high interest rate when you're doing a debt pay down. Emergency funds. When people come to me and they're like, I want to invest, they probably think I'm crazy because some of the things that I'm asking them is, do you have any debt? Do you have a cash reserve? A cash reserve is so important because I guarantee you, if we invest those funds, just as soon as you have an emergency come up, the market is going to be down, and it's going to be down drastically. So monies that you need, monies that you need to have a set aside cash reserve for emergencies that you can get to. And then growing debt. Debt is okay. There are certain debt that's good. So we'll go into that. Emergency funds. So it's saying a 3-6-9 rule. If you are single without a large mortgage and nowadays without large rent, you have one mouth to feed and stable income, they're saying put aside 3 months worth of your expenses. The 6 months, if you are married, kids, mortgage, stable, dual income, 6 months. And then self-employed, they're saying 9 months. Now, that's all good. However, in the times that we're in right now, I would double each one of those because of what's going on in the market, because so many people are losing their jobs at the same time. Makes it a little bit harder to possibly get another job. So you want to have an emergency fund, cash sitting that's not invested in the market, that may be in a savings plan, CD, something liquid that you can get to. An emergency fund is very important. It helps to keep you from going to use those credit cards and paying those high interest rates. So the trouble with credit cards, you can see here, you got a credit card that you got $500 on. Interest rate is 18%, and all you're paying is just the minimum. That's going to take you almost 3 years to pay that off, and you can see what you would pay in interest. But look at it at the $5,000 level. You ran the credit card up to $5,000 at 18%, and you only paying the minimum of $200. That takes 10 years, and you're paying over half of what you got in credit. That's not good. And that's why a debt reduction plan is needed. And the crazy thing, yesterday's expenses. You got a credit card you owe $5,000 on. You don't have a thing in your house that you can point to, sit on, or anything that you ran that $5,000 up on. However, you may have went to all the fancy restaurants. You may have drank the best liquor out there. You may have even traveled on your credit card and didn't pay it off. So yesterday's expenses, and you're still paying them and paying the high interest. When you look at gas, if you use your credit card to go to the gas station and you don't pay it off, think about how often you get gas. So in a month's time, you can have a balance of $300 and it's just in gas, and you're carrying that forward and paying interest on it. There are some good credit cards out there though. So somebody mentioned credit and wanting to make sure that they have good credit. So as I've thought many times and I've said many times, God has put my life in so many different situations, whether it's good or bad, and it's to help others. So with your credit cards, I used to say, use your debit card, just use your debit card. I will still say that if you have a credit card disease, a credit card habit, that you are always just using your credit cards and not thinking about it, and then you're carrying debt, you're paying the minimum, and you're going through this vicious cycle. Go to debit card. Because guess what? You have to have the money in your bank in order to use that debit card. Credit cards will definitely help you to establish your credit. So one of the things that I did is that I took all my bills that I pay and I put the due date on the exact same day. So on the 28th of every month, my bills come due. And so on the 28th of every month, I know exactly how much I need to have in that account. And I set it up for automatic. So all of my credit cards, I put automatic minimum pay because I may not know how much I may spend that month. So I put it at minimum pay. Why? I want to keep my credit good. I want to make sure that those bills are paid, whether I'm sick, whether I forget, it doesn't matter. They're going to be paid and is set. And therefore, I don't have to worry about being late. So, in talking about your credit, if you have to be late on a bill, try not to ever be 30 days late. If you notice, the credit report is broken down between 30, 60, and 90. If you're not 30 days late, it's not going to hit on that report to say that you are 30 days late. So keep that in mind if you cannot pay on time. By paying the minimum, that does not preclude me from putting extra or paying it off. I could pay it off that same month, but I made sure that my payment got in on time and that I can keep my credit score up. The other thing that I look at is I do Credit Karma almost every day, every other day. And somebody was like, why do you look at it so much? I want to make sure that there's nothing that have jumped on my credit report. I want to make sure that my credit score stays up. And generally, it's not if you're going to get hacked or somebody going to steal your identity or going to use your credit card. It's just a matter of time. We've been out of town, been on the road, and our credit cards wouldn't go through. And it's like, okay, what's going on? And we call and find out somebody in Mexico is using it, and we're here in Missouri. So I look at Credit Karma, and that's credit and karma with a K, K-R-M-A. I look at that quite often. I also look at my credit cards where they give you your credit, your statements and stuff, where you can look at your credit report. I look there too. Not as often as Credit Karma, but I do. And with Credit Karma, at least you'll get two different scores. They may not be totally accurate, but at least you know what's going on and you can see your full report. So make sure you're following that. If you could pay off your credit cards every single month, pay them off. To keep your credit score high, you do not want to carry debt over 30% of that balance. So if you have a limit of $1,000 on a credit card, try not to carry over $300 forward. You do want to establish credit, but you don't have to keep carrying balances forward. Sometimes I'll pick up a credit card in my wallet and just use it just so they won't close it, because I haven't used it in a while, and I'll just turn around and pay it off. So be mindful of that too, because sometimes they will just close your cards for inactivity, and you don't want that. The other thing is that a lot of these cards have rewards with them. So like that Apple card, that's the devil to me. Oh my God. because I take that, it's so simple on your phone to just swipe or tap rather, just tap. And that's 2% that I get in rewards. But I make sure I pay that card off every single month. And that 2% comes in cash. So I could use it towards paying the credit card off, or I can use it however I want to. I could tap that out too. Make sure that when you are using your cards for rewards, that you understand which is giving you the best reward. I tell you, it took me a while to do this reward thing because it could be a headache. And I would rather have used a debit card, but I'm not getting anything for that. So if you remember when I talked about Navy Federal, I literally would charge something really big on a credit card and get the reward points, and then transferred it over to Navy Federal, and didn't have to pay any points to do that, and extended it out for a year at no interest. So I was able to get the best of both worlds. So make sure that you check out the different credit cards and see what's best for you. The American Express. A lot of people say, I won't pay to have a credit card in my pocket. I used to say that too, until I realized some of the perks and benefits that came with some of the cards. So with the American Express card, I was able to get my Clear, and they paid for that. I was able to get my TSP, and they paid for that. I was able to travel and go to the lounges, and food at airports are extremely expensive. They pay for that. I get Uber Eats, which I wasn't even using it, but since they're going to give me $15 a month to use it, or Uber, it could be Eats or travel and stuff. I was like, well, I'm going to use that. So there, it came with a lot of perks. It came with a lot of bonuses, but make sure that you check to see, is it still beneficial? My Sam's Club card. Now that's one that I use all the time because I go to Sam's and I do the scan and go. So I get points for the rewards, the scan and go, and they give it to you in cash, dollar for dollar. You're not getting short change there. And I just read where if I go to any gas station, I get 5%. If I go to a restaurant, I get 3%. I said, let me try that. And I did. And boy, I got $64 in 1 month from just doing that. So if you're going to play the reward game, please make sure you pay attention and try to get away from the high interest rates. Try to pay your credit cards off every single month. And if you can't, try not to go over 30%. So that will help your credit. That will help your the choices in credit cards. So common approaches to budgeting. Some of the ideal methods. It's no one method that works for everybody. It's up to you what will work. So if you're budgeting and you want to use mint.com, go right ahead. Rocket Money, Personal Capital. There are a lot of automated tools, like I said, that you can use to track your income and expenses. You can do monthly bookkeeping. Some people even come in my office with envelopes. Okay, this is for my daughter's wedding fund. This is for my vacation. This is for, and it works for them. And that's okay. Just like married couples, some people put all their money together and some don't. It's what works for you, what keeps the peace in your house. So I can't say, oh, everybody needs to have it all together and pay. No, no, it's what works for you. The manual expense journaling, as I told you up front, that's what worked for me. Just writing it down, tracking it, and tracking it over a period of time until I reach my goal. That works so well for me. We have a lot of very smart people on this call that are very computer literate, so the other systems may work for you. What's less ideal though? Well, I'm not even worried about it. I'm just gonna spend money. And next thing you know, you bouncing checks. Or my spouse does it. Please, please get a handle on the expenses of your household, whether you're paying it or the other person pays it. Because guess what? We get sick, we die, we divorce. There are a lot of things that happen, and you don't want to be in the poorhouse, destitute, things like that, just because you didn't know how to move forward or what it took to run your household. Credit is king. Yes, good credit is king. However, to get good credit, hopefully you're not maxing out on your credit cards and everything. So you just keep going and you're living above your means, and therefore you're living on your credit cards. And I've had people that I've told, you cannot afford this house. I don't care what you were approved for, you cannot afford it. Don't. They did, been in a couple of years, and I'm now telling them to, hey, have you put that house up for sale yet? Before they get ready to foreclose on it, that would be so much easier if you put it up for sale. The reason being is that they started robbing Peter to pay Paul. They are steady coming to their investment account, their long-term investment account, to pay their monthly bills. They're pulling $3,000 out a month, they're working, and it's like you can't sustain this. So when you see that you're out of sorts, put pride aside and try to solve the problem while it's less stressful. Because the longer you keep kicking the can down the road, the worse it'll get. And then the I'm cheap, make sure that you're doing what you need to do to be comfortable and the things that you want to do or need to do. I put my father in this category. I'm cheap. So I went there to visit him in Connecticut last year, and he had a back surgery. And I'm like, Dad, you need to get a bed that's comfortable, that supports your back properly. That this is like a brick. I had him to upgrade his stuff. It's not because he didn't have the money, but it was because he's cheap. So that's not ideal either. So when you're looking at budgeting, you want to have three buckets. And a lot of times my clients, when I'm talking to them, I'm talking about three buckets in retirement. So where is your money coming from your everyday expenses? So if you're on Social Security, if you are working, what is it going to take for you to have in that checking account to make it for everyday expenses? Bucket one, when you pay all of your bills from your check, what's left over? That's called discretionary income. So you paid all your bills, you got all of your stuff out of the way, you even got your little slush fund, your cash money in your pocket, but you still got money left over. Discretionary dollars. What are you doing with that? And are you using it to achieve your goal? And then the unexpected. Are you preparing for that? Do you have life insurance in place, long-term care, medical insurance? I know some people that are making millions of dollars. They don't even have medical insurance. So you're thinking millions of dollars and so they can pay for it. Have you ever been sick? Have you ever been to the hospital, had surgery? It costs. So what I generally have people to do is you need to budget for your needs and your wants. You need to understand what your needs are, but also what your wants are. And I always tell people that doing financial plans and tracking dollars, you can always, tracking money tells a story. Dealing with money tells a story. So I could do a financial plan on people and they tell me their income, all of this stuff, and then the numbers don't add up. Something's wrong. Where is this money going? Because what you told me and what this is not matching. And I generally could say, do you gamble? and they look shocked. Money tells a story, numbers tell a story. And you could tell something's going wrong or different than what you thought or were told that it was. So you don't have to stop what you're doing, just budget for it. Again, God put my life in so many different situations so I can help others. My husband and I used to gamble on Fridays. That was our date night. We figured we don't drink. We would go to the boat, we would eat, we would go gamble. But we budgeted how much we were going to gamble. We didn't take our checkbook. We didn't go to the ATM. When it was through, it was through. We would get up. It was a good night. We loved it. We had fun. We could get up broke, don't have a dime from being there, but we understood where that fit in our life. That was just fun for us. That was our outing. We didn't go to the show. That was our outing. So you don't have to stop doing what you love to do. Just budget for it and discipline yourself. And when I have clients that I see have this, it's like, no problem. Let's just budget for it. But you can't take your checkbook. You can't take your debit card. You can't take all of these things. You have to be disciplined. So budget for your needs as well as your wants. Because if you just get your needs, then you get burnt out. Like, why am I working? Why am I working so hard and I can't get the things that I want? All right, if y'all have y'all phones, take a picture of this. This is just a guide for budgeting. So you can see what percentage goes into each category. And you can look at your own household budget and see where you fit in as far as, are you spending more than 35% of your income on your housing? How about utilities? You're going to be surprised how much you spend on food, especially when you pay to go to lunch, when you pay for that Starbucks coffee every day. Matter of fact, I don't even drink Starbucks coffee because I didn't want to get hooked on it at $5 to $8 a cup or 10 a cup. I'm like, that's not part of my budget. And see in these different categories, how much are you spending? How close are you to this guideline? Now you're going to tweak it to fit you so that you can see, oh, well, I'm spending a little bit too much on my utilities. I'm spending more than 5%. Maybe I need to cut my kids off of that phone that I'm paying for their cell phone. Or maybe I can cook at home a little more. So look and see, everybody take a picture of this. This is just a guideline. And then what you're going to do is take your monthly money, your income, and multiply it by those percentages to see where is your budget and how closely are you aligned to the guideline. And again, you're going to have to make adjustments and tweak it for you. But see just how close you are aligned to that budget guideline. So different budgeting methods. Take your monthly income, subtract out the automated expenses. Like I said, I got my house note on automated. Everything comes out. Insurance policies, everything comes out on the 28th. The house note, when I refinanced it, I actually said, okay, I'm gonna pay X amount of dollars. I refinanced it for 30 years, but I said, okay, I'm gonna pay X amount of dollars additional every single month. And when I did the amortization schedule, it said my 30-year mortgage will be paid off in 18 years. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, they say pay extra or something. You can go to the biweekly method if your mortgage company allows that, and that generally will save about 7.5 years. If you're trying to figure out how to pay extra, pay just and do it to the principal, not the interest. Do it to the principal. Pay an extra something per month for the entire time of the loan so that you are paying down your mortgage. And then make sure you have your savings goal in there. And look, this person is bringing home $4,000, have $2,250 in expenses, they have over $1,750 left per month. Discretionary income. What are they doing with it? Are they trying to achieve their goals? This is the kind of preciseness that you want to do and to know about your household, your budget. Begin with the end in mind. The end is, this is how much I make, and then go from there. And then what are you going to do with that leftover money? There are places that you can save on your expenses. So remember I said the kids that you're paying the cell phone bills for, other people that you are helping out, maybe look at that. Entertainment, maybe you're going out 3 times a week and you can cut it down to 1. Dining, you are going to be so, like I said, so shocked when you add up how much you spend on groceries, how much you spend on dining, Starbucks, lunch, all of that. That may be your biggest expense. And that was a rude awakening to me when I did this and realized just how much we spend on dining per month. So definitely use that, look at that. And then credit card usage, can you cut back, and especially on the interest and everything? And where else can you save money? Then people get bonuses or extra money or tax refunds. What do you do with it? Most people will take it in hodgepodge. They'll say, okay, I'm gonna put $50 on each one of my credit cards so that, I could at least pay them down, or $100 or something like that. You're hodgepodge, and guess what? You had 20 credit cards today when you did it. You're gonna have 20 next month because you didn't pay anything off. So look at how you're gonna pay that debt down, or pay the mortgage down. You may want to say, okay, I get a bonus every year. I'm going to put X amount of dollars towards my mortgage. Add up how much you're spending for the principal. Look at your statement, see how much goes to principal, because all that money you're paying is either going to taxes, insurance, or interest. Very little going to principal. You may be able to pay a whole year's worth of principal in one payment. So look at that. Look at your statement. The other thing, retirement plans. At least I'm hoping that you are putting in at least what they're going to match you in your retirement plan. And we're going to talk about this a little later. But what I would ask you to do is that if you get 2% or above in a raise, increase your retirement plan by 1%. So I said 2% or above because if you get a 1% raise, no, keep that 1% raise. You need to feel some kind of accomplishment for another year there. But if you get 2% or above, go up by 1% in your retirement plan. Next thing you know, you'll be at 10%, 15, 20. Because before that money goes into your spending every month, you want to make sure that, okay, I didn't have it last month, I'm not going to miss it. So increase your retirement plan if you have one and are in it. So those are some of the things that you could do with the extra monies that you get. Don't forget your 401k plan. So you out there wishing they give you a 3% raise, 4% raise, guess what? Put in your 401k, let them match you. They're generally, a lot of times, if you put in 6%, they'll match you 50 cents on a dollar. So that's 3%. With that 3%, you didn't work an extra day, an extra hour. You didn't do anything to get that 3%. So please don't pass up the free money. It helps in many ways because it lowers your tax bracket. So if you're putting in $2,000 and you make 50, you're only going to pay taxes on 48,000. I know that a lot of companies are offering the Roth 401k. That does not have the same effect because you're taxed on those dollars that go into the Roth, just so that when you retire, or over 59 and a half, you can take it out tax-free. These tax laws and laws are changing all the time. So if you need the tax break, then go ahead and get in the 401k and not the Roth 401k if you need the tax break so you're not paying Uncle Sam. If you don't need the tax break, then maybe the Roth 401k is for you because that's money that is taxed. So if you are making 50,000, you're putting 2,000 into the Roth 401k, you are taxed on 50,000, not 48. So over here, it's talking about start as soon as possible, planning for your retirement. So this scenario to the left says they're saving $100 a month from age 21 to age 30 for 9 years. And they stopped. That's a total contribution of $10,800. But when they get ready to retire, and this is assuming an 8% rate of return, when they get ready to retire, it's showing $231,000 in their account. Investor 2, they started at age 30 and invested $100 a month to age 65. So they invested for 35 years. That's a total of $42,000 contribution. And guess what? 215,000 compared to 231,000. Start as early as you can. And for everybody on this call, if you have children, grandchildren, and they are working, please touch them on the shoulder, show them the way, have them to invest in their retirement plan if they have one, or have them to put money aside. The earlier you do it, the better. Is it too late for you? No, it's not too late. Start sometime, start anytime. If you're 50, start. But touch somebody and tell them, or as we're mentoring the young people through these programs, make sure that they know to start investing and what the end result could be. So investment strategies, 5 smart investing strategies. Don't time the market. Asset allocation, investment selection, dollar cost averaging, and rebalancing your portfolio. So guess what? Somebody said, what about this market that we're in now? Which one of these are we in now? It's crazy out here right now. So we're in that fear market. I got one call from someone that was working and they asked me, oh, should I stop putting into my 401k because this market is crazy, my account is down? And my answer was, absolutely not. Not one bit. Get excited about this market. It's hard. I've been doing this 30 years, and every time we get to this point, and the market is cyclical all the time, it takes me a day to take that deep breath. It takes me a day to say, oh my Lord, here we go again. But I know that we're going to make it through. And one of my favorite quotes, Warren Buffett said, he said, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So right now, we're in that fearful state. The media is talking about it. You see the stock market. You look on your phone, and if you haven't got the stock market on your phone somewhere, make sure you put the app on that just tracks the market. If you see it's all green, it's an up day. The first things on here is the NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and Dow Jones. So you can see if it's up or down. This has been the worst roller coaster ride. It's not been the worst because the recession, the market went down 56% during the recession, and that was 2007, 8, and 9. And I mean, it was like the world is coming to an end, the market is crashing, and all of that stuff. So we're in a fear state. But what does it tell you when you're looking at fear? To buy. Guess what? You're buying low. I just looked up Meta. Meta is the old Facebook. And Meta has been as high as $740 a share. It probably was up there in as close as October, November, December, somewhere in there. Meta is at 500 and some odd dollars a share now. People were scared. I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do with my money? Oh my God. When people call me, I'm like, hey, you got more money? It's on sale. Get excited. I know y'all think I'm crazy. Get excited. If it was Dillard's, if it was Neiman Marcus, and y'all went in there and things were 15% off, y'all would be excited buying up stuff. If it was 20% off, look at that. Guess what? Meta has strong financial books. They have great products. He's diversified. They call this, he's one of the Magnificent Seven. So the Magnificent Seven are the ones that are big in AI, artificial intelligence, the Googles, all of those systems that we ask questions to. That's artificial intelligence. The number one company out there just did a 10-to-1 split. The number one AI company, NVIDIA, did a 10-to-1 split last year, and the stock is down. It was down under $100 a share. Oh my God, they're the number one. They're financially strong. That was a deal of all deals. Let me back up. Not trying to give stock tips, but buy low. That's where we're at now. The market is low. Get in while it's low and ride it back up. So think about Apple. Let's say Apple would, well, I'll get to that later. And then he said he gets out when people get greedy. People get greedy when they see the market is high. Oh my God, your neighbor said, oh, I made so much money on Apple. Oh my goodness. You're like, oh, you run in the house and you get into Apple. It's at a all-time high. So you're going to buy high and sell low. So this is the fear market. So get your dollars ready, get out there, because things are on sale. Yes, I know the tariffs. I know that just a speak of a word could come out of somebody's mouth and things just tumble. Okay, then maybe that's the buying day. So buy low, sell high. We know that's the same, but we tend to buy high and sell low. Missing the mark. This is trying to time the market. And so investment returns. If we miss the best 60 days, guess what? Minus 4.2%. The best 50. You can see these minus numbers. And if we only missed 10, or if we stayed invested, look at that. I'm telling you, it's the bad part about it is when you have fear, you get out. There are people that sit out on the sideline because back in 2009, they lost half of their money and they don't want to deal with it anymore. Guess what? You take a loss when you sell. So you had 100 shares of Apple. Apple went from $200 to $50. At $50, how many shares of Apple you got? You still got 100 shares. So when Apple go up to $500, then you still have 500 shares. It's when you sell and take that loss and say, I quit. Guess what? They trying to put fear into you now. They got you fearing. When you get out and sit on the sideline, when are you going to get back in? You're going to wait till it get high and then get back in. So you can buy when it's low. And this is showing you what it costs you when you decide, oh, I'm going to sit on the sideline, and then you miss the best 60 days of the market. Think about when COVID hit. COVID hit, the market went down 23%, 32%, 36%, and then it shot back up so fast. I worked 24/7 when COVID hit because everybody wanted to buy. That was some uncertain times of all time. We had no idea who was going to survive. We had no idea of anything that was going on. And then asset allocation, being diversified into different asset classes. These are the different classes: cash equivalents, any monies that you need to get to, cash equivalent, your emergency funds, your monthly spending. You got fixed income funds, bonds, stocks, and speculative, your cryptos and gold and things like that. When you look over the long term, it shows you that stocks outperform the bond market and the cash market. So I have people that work for the government. They are in the G plan, I believe, and they just stay there, or work at other companies. They're in the stable value fund. And I just got to protect my principal. I don't want to lose my money. I don't. But guess what? I've retired two people that started the same day, put the same amount in, got the same matching money. And because one diversified their portfolio, got into some different things, the stocks and stuff, and the other one just wanted to play it safe, it was over $100,000 difference in their two accounts. So definitely seek advice, or in your retirement plans, they have those life cycle funds. If they look good, then get in them, because what it means is that your life cycle 2050, that's the year you're expecting to retire, somewhere around there. So this is 2025, 25 years from now. That means your portfolio will be more aggressive now. And as you get closer to retirement, it gets more into bonds and cash and things like that, trying to preserve it for your retirement. So it's okay to be in those. And when you look at over time from 2014 to 23, look at where cash is at. You're not really making a whole lot of money. Then bonds, and then look at stock. Stock outperform almost all the time except three years of those 10. So think about what you're getting in. And this is showing you a falling market. That's this market that we're in right now. You're putting $500 a month into the plan, and the stock is at 30. So you're only able to buy 16.7 shares. But in June, that $500, the stock is at 25. So you're able to buy more shares. So that $3,000 you invested was able to get 109 shares of stock. A rising market, just the opposite. Still putting 500 a month in. It went from 26 to 31. And the total number of shares that were purchased was 105. So in the falling market, buy low. This is that falling market, buy low. This is the Apple. You're putting $600 into Apple, and Apple's at $200 a share. January, you bought 3 shares. February, you put that same $600 in again, and the market was down to $100 a share. You were able to buy 6 shares then with that $600. So now you got the 3 shares from January and the 6 shares from February. And then on February 28th, Apple went up to $150 a share, not back to the 200, but to 150. But you got 9 shares of Apple. So if you take that 9 shares times 150, it's something like 1,350. It's still not back to that 200, but you done made $150 because you only put 1,200 in, and you got 1,350. So you made $150. Guess what? When it goes up to that 200, oh my God, you got $1,800 or something that you'll get. 200 times 9. But if it was just steady at that $200, you would have only had 6 shares. So you got 3 extra shares. Buy low, sell high. This is what a conservative portfolio looks like: 30% stocks, 70% bonds. Go with what your heart is, what you will not keep you up at night. So the best years in the conservative market, 29.3, the worst 14.5. The average return is 7%. Of 97 years, you got 17 of them that were down. This is an aggressive portfolio, just the opposite, 70% stock and then 30% bonds. And there are other portfolios, moderate, all of those. And you can see, wow, best year is 41%, but the worst, whoa, 30% down, but you're averaging 9% rate of return. Just a difference in your investment strategies. Sorry. All right, so yeah, something's wrong with me or my computer. I don't know. Okay, it doesn't want to get to that screen. That's okay. It was just about rebalancing and everything. So now people were wanting to retire. I just have a few things to go over about that. Women generally live 5 years longer than men. That's why women's life insurance actually costs a little bit more than men. And then it says worldwide, they live 7 years longer. So women need to understand about retirement, men too. If any men are on here, I don't preclude you. I'm just stating some facts. You want to know your dream. So when I retire people, one of the things that I ask is, what are you transitioning to? So before you retire, figure out what is it, what's your dream, what's your goal? What do you want to do in retirement? How do you want your retirement to look? Do you want to work a part-time job? Do you want to travel all the time? Do you want to go and live with your grandkids? What is it that you want to do? And that's what you start planning for your retirement. This is Venus Williams. She said, I don't focus on what I'm up against. You don't focus on the obstacles. She focuses on her goals and ignore the rest. Her goals. You want to be specific. You want to be able to measure them, obtain them. You want to be able to tweak your goals to get you where you need to go for retirement. And sorry for this being small. It's just I like the pictures and stuff on here. You want to pay yourself first. So do your savings on automatic, your 401k. That's automatic. Have an automatic plan when you're putting into your IRA or your brokerage account or your savings account. Have it go on automatic so you don't have to think about it. It's just done. Make sure you take advantage of the employer match in your retirement plans. We've already went over that. Increase that contribution. Like I said, when you get a raise, go up on the contributions. And you want to make sure that you look at all the tax benefits for the different plans that are available, from a Roth, traditional IRA, the 401k, all of those. Social Security. Social Security, I tell you, that's something else. Go online and find out how much of your Social Security, because you used to get this white sheet with green writing every single year, like 3 months before your birthday. They stopped that probably 8 to 10 years ago. You don't get it. You get it every now and then. But know when the best time to claim your Social Security. So first off, if you are widow, then you can claim your Social Security at age 60 as long as you do not make more than, let's say this year, maybe $22,000 a year. If you do, then for every $2 over that, you have to give them $1 back. And what that means is that they will start withholding a month's check for every $2 you're over, they take $1. So it's not like you have to write them a check or anything. Full retirement age. If you are like 63 and maybe 62 or 64, full retirement age is generally 67. So anything from now on is 67. What that means, the only thing that full retirement age mean to you is that you can work and make any amount of money that you want. You can make $1 million a year and don't have to pay that money back. Let's say you started full retirement age or 6 months after, and you wanted to get your Social Security. That's fine. You could literally tell them you wanted to go back 6 months, take a lump sum in cash and go back 6 months and get that, and they will pay you as though you had started 6 months ago. So that's just a little caveat if you needed lump sum of money. And I spoke about if you were a widow, you can get your Social Security at age 60. However, you cannot be married at that time. So either delay getting married or, forego it. So at age 60, and then marry them after you start your Social Security. That's fine. If you were married for 10 years and let's see, you may be able to get your spouse's Social Security. Doesn't matter how many times they've been married. So I've retired people from their jobs, and they've had 3 spouses, and we look at each one of them that have deceased to see, okay, where can you make the most money? And then we may delay their income until they're 70 when it's the highest. So at age 70, they stop adding to it. Anything below full retirement age, you are giving up like 8% a year as taking it early penalty. Healthcare. So if you're still working and you're age 65, you may want to look at how much your healthcare is costing at your job and compare it to Medicare. Because if you decide to go on Medicare, well, Medicare Part A, generally you don't have to pay for if you've worked in the United States for at least 40 quarters. But B is right now at $185 a month that would come out of your Social Security, or you would have to pay. And depending on your income, you may have to pay more if your income is high. But compare it to what you're getting at your job and look at your different Medicare options. Extended care, try to get long-term care in place. And the reason being is that Latanya and I was just talking about, people are coming up with Alzheimer's and dementia, and it's like, where is all this coming from, and needing care? Whether somebody was coming into your home and taking care of you, or you had to go to an assisted living facility. Those policies take care of those things, even if a person had to come into your home. So I always tell people that your children may love you. However, your in-laws, your son-in-law and daughter-in-law may not. So if you've been independent all your life, you definitely don't want to wait until you can't do for yourself to depend on your children. So try to stay independent. If you can afford long-term care, at least get it quoted and see. If you can't afford it, get it so that you can remain independent and on your own. The number one carrier for long-term care coverage is actually Medicaid, and you have to go through a process to qualify. If you get Medicare, I know in the state of Missouri, however much money you have in your retirement plan is protected, because you would have Medicaid, you would have your long-term care coverage in place. So it would be protected. So a few benefits to getting it, and it may even have some tax deductions. So I added in the estate planning piece, and only 32% of Americans have an estate plan. What you want to do, and this is for end of life planning, basically, you want to make sure that you have beneficiaries on your assets and your property. So if you own a house, you may want to have a beneficiary deed on there. It does a couple of things. First, it keeps your home from going into probate. And probate generally takes 2 years, sometimes 3. And if you have a reverse mortgage on your home, guess what? You need to have that home, something done with it within a year. Well, if probate takes 2, and that's a year, your heirs could literally lose the home in the mix of it. So especially if you have a reverse mortgage on your home, definitely make sure you have a beneficiary deed. The other thing is good about that is that your cost basis, when something happens to you, let's say you bought the house for $100,000 and it's valued at $500,000. when you pass away, if it's 500,000, then that's the cost basis. So if your heirs sell it, guess what? They don't have to pay taxes on that 500,000. Now, I'm not an attorney, but you can check with an attorney, an estate planning attorney. But we just got our trust done. So I had forgot about that. And I was totally pleased that we did this because of that. Make sure that your life insurance policies have your beneficiaries on it, your investment accounts, all things with deeds, trust, things like that. Because if you don't, and what usually happens, something happened to you, guess who's on there? Your ex-wife. You done remarried and everything like that. Your ex-husband is on there. Or do not put your children under the age of 18 or 21 on your policies unless you put an executor on there as well. Because something happened to you, they can't get to the money, they're minors. So your funeral goes unpaid from that particular policy because they're minors. So you want to make sure of who your beneficiaries are. When you purchase a car, you want to make sure you put a TOD, transfer on death, or a beneficiary. I know in Missouri we have the long forms, the titles, and up in the right-hand corner is a box that says beneficiary. Put somebody in there. That way, all they have to do is take your death certificate to the motor vehicle department and show that and get everything transferred over for whatever $13.50 or whatever the fee is. Make sure that your bank accounts, when you open up a checking account, savings account, they give you all these cards to sign. Why don't they give us a POD, paid on death, or a beneficiary card? Put beneficiaries on those accounts. Make sure you have everything protected that way. While you're in your right mind, or you think you're in your right mind, get a power of attorney in place. Because if you wait and you got dementia or something, you may not be able to find an attorney that's going to give anybody power of attorney. Power of attorney is only good as long as a person has breath in their body. Soon as they pass away, breath leave their body, then it goes to the executor of the estate to distribute everything in the state. So you want to make sure you have that. And there are two different powers of attorneys. There's the healthcare power of attorney, but there's also the doable or the financial power of attorney. You want to make sure that you have both in place. Being able to avoid probate will help from a legal tax standpoint, and we can reduce taxes if we do the estate planning piece. And it creates a peace of mind. I know every time we used to travel, go out of the country, whatever, I'd be like, oh my God, I got to get this, this, and this together. My husband finally made the appointment. He called the attorney himself, made the appointment because he was like, I get so tired of you saying you need to do this, this, and this when you're traveling because you're fearful if you don't come back, you want to make sure everything is in order. So just do it, as Nike says. So a living trust is what you can put in place, an irrevocable trust, and then therefore you have the opportunity to change the people in there that you want to change. If you're trying to get approved for like Medicaid so that you can, so somebody can be in a nursing home and stuff, then, or you may want a irrevocable trust in order to protect assets. So there are different types, and you would talk to an estate planning attorney for that. All right, so the secret of getting ahead and getting your finances in order is to get started. Just do it, because you can be successful with your financial future. So I appreciate the Kansas City, Kansas Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for looking out for your best interest when it comes to financial literacy. Any questions?
Thank you, Raina. We do have a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
And then if someone wants to raise their hand and ask the question, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So one of the questions in the chat is, you were talking about credit cards and you say, you know, get rid of them. The question is, are you recommending that we close out credit cards, or do you recommend closing out cards that are no longer in use? They were told that if you close out your credit cards, this would negatively impact your credit score. Can you talk just a minute about that?
Oh my gosh, yes. Very, very good question. Because, so look at your credit cards. If you've had them forever, do not close those credit cards. You don't have to use them, but don't close them. However, when you replace your, let's say you got started and you were, you know, low balance, low limits and all that stuff, and you have built your credit up to now you got, you know, $10,000 limits or $5,000 limits or $25,000 limits, then at that time, go and close those little bitty limits that's on your credit report. That's 500, 1,000, different things like that, because over time that can hurt you. However, do not close them until you have established stronger credit. Um, like your, let's say you got J.C. Penney's, you got still got Sears, things like that. You want to definitely get away from those. Those do not add to your higher credit rating, like a MasterCard, Visa, American Express, things like that. You will take a hit, but generally it only lasts 3 months. So when I went through and said, oh, I can't stand, like I had an American Express, I could not stand that card because it was a Macy's and I don't shop at Macy's. And so it was $5,000 limit and I got rid of it. I closed it. I hated that card. But I had replaced it with stronger cards, better credit cards. So, yes, look at when it was open. And once you get established enough, get rid of all that little stuff. If you have credit cards that you don't have for 20 years, hold on to those. I had a Target that I had had for a long time. And when I cycled through and decided I'm getting rid of these junk credit cards and stuff, I got rid of that. And like I said, your credit score may take a hit for about 3 months, but you'll be okay.
Okay. Another question we have is, do you recommend putting money in one thing or spread it around to investments, credit bureau accounts, savings, etc.?
Could you say that again, please?
Okay. Do you, and this is from Dolores Tucker. Dolores, if you want to come off mute to ask the question or explain it better, you're more than welcome to. But do you recommend putting your money in one thing or spreading it around to investments, credit bureau accounts, savings?
Credit bureau accounts.
Okay, so you were talking about that high yield credit account.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay.
That was a credit bureau, right?
Credit union.
Credit union, excuse me.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was thrown, I'm like, what credit bureau account? Yeah. So because credit unions tend to have higher interest rates, more lenient, will give you more, you know, loans and different things like that. So for cash reserve accounts, then definitely look for the high interest rate ones. And when you talk about spreading it around, now let me kind of clarify that, because the FDIC limit is 250,000 now. So if you have more than 250,000 at one bank, then it's not insured above that. So I know that's not the issue that we're talking about, but I just wanted to let people know that don't have more than $250,000 sitting in an account at a bank, because you're not going to be insured by FDIC. So you said the credit union. See if that credit union or your bank, find out the interest rates that they're offering And that's how you will structure your money and the best return in interest rates, because do not let your money sit at getting you absolutely nothing, when you can look at credit unions and other banks and see what they have.
And what was that credit union you said that was yielding 5%?
That is the Community America Credit Union. And it has a high yield interest account that yields about 5%. Is that right, LaTanya?
Yes.
Yeah, about 5%. Yeah, because we did some research. And yeah, Community America. What I love about them, and the reason I threw their name out there, is that a lot of times they're in your grocery store, like they're in Hy-Vee over here. And so you can go to the bank on Sundays and night at 7 o'clock. You got all kind of leeway and stuff. But credit unions tend to pay more, and they pay profits out. So we may get $75 a year in profit sharing. So that's the reason that I mentioned credit unions.
All right, Raina, we do have a couple more questions in the chat, but I know we are about out of time. And I did want to, I wrote down a couple of nuggets that I just wanted to reiterate. When paying off debt, the snowball effect, starting with that smallest debt first, and then keep going to the next smallest and on and on. Get that high yield savings account. We just talked about that. You gave Community America as an example. Have your emergency fund. Oh my goodness. It is crazy in these streets right now. I'm a federal employee, and I can't tell you every single day it's something impacting us in a negative way. So make sure that you get your emergency fund together, and also your credit report. Make sure you're looking at your credit report often to make sure there's not any mistakes or old accounts that need to be closed or anything like that. Tracking your income and expenses as you are budgeting. Make sure you budget for your needs and also your wants. I was like, oh, that is so good, because a lot of times we're just looking at, our needs for the month. We're not thinking about those things that we may want. Tracking money tells a story. I thought, what is my story? What is my money? What story is my money telling me? But that tracking your money tells a story. And also, I love that quote that you gave from Warren Buffett: be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. I love that. And buying low and selling high when you are investing in the stock market. And estate planning. Like me, when Raina had mentioned estate planning, for me, I was like, estate planning? I don't have an estate. But then once she broke it down, I was like, I do have an estate. So we all have estates, and we all want to make sure that, as Raina said, we're protecting what matters and making sure that what we have goes to the people that we want it to go to when that time comes, and making sure that you have a trust and also power of attorney as we move forward as well. So those were just like a few key nuggets that I got out of your presentation. I hope that all of our attendees and participants learned something. And if you want some more information from Raina, her information is on the screen. Feel free to contact her or a different financial advisor. It's up to you. But we wanted to bring you someone who we knew had a wealth of information and knowledge, and that could help you with your financial needs. So with that being said, we hope that you enjoyed today's presentation and that you're able to take some things and implement those into your life. So have a good day and a good rest of your weekend.